something about the quality of horse that you guys are even trying to pull off what you're trying to do with him.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the quality of the horse and the nature of the horse, he's just a very sensible horse that I think not every horse, I'd be afraid to do it with some horses, but he's just got such a remarkable attitude, But no, it does, definitely. It's a big challenge.
What were some of the signs that he showed you coming back that made you think, okay, we could really go for this?
Just that really everything's gone without a hiccup, which is amazing, really. For fear of jinxing myself, he hasn't missed a work, he hasn't missed a week. If anything had gotten in the way, I wouldn't have done this, but it's kind of just happened very naturally, and he's gotten us here, and I feel like he's done a lot of work, and it's kind of hard to come back and find the race for a Derby winner, I mean, when you've won the Derby, do you go looking, we looked for an allowance race to go to Dubai, which was a whole different story, but at this stage of his career, he's a very good horse, he's the best horse I've ever trained, and I think it's a great opportunity to take a shot in this race,
Looking at his potential foes in that race, you've obviously got Wise and Horse.
I'm not looking anymore.
Yeah. I was saying, it seems like it keeps, with like celebration coming in, and I think Freddie Head's got
it's a really competitive race, no doubt about it.
Graham, I didn't hear your thoughts on
I thought it was great. Yeah, I mean, it's just what I hoped they would do. I wanted him to do something within himself, which I think he did. I think it was perfect, I just didn't, when we work him at Fair Hill, he's been going up and down a pretty stiff uphill and the steeplechase course there, and I think he'd done enough of that, he just needed a maintenance work, if you like.
And the idea was to race outside of badly road ground and just pass him.
Yeah, I told David if he's going handily, if he wants to let him go on, he can. If he feels like he's doing enough, just stay with him, Right. I really left it up to David what he wanted to do. He knows him very well. He's worked him probably every time he's worked, so apart from maybe when Johnny's been on him. So
I think you've touched on this before, but do you see a great difference in his action compared to turf when he's on dirt?
I don't know if I see a great difference, but I do feel like he's much more natural on it. Maybe, I do feel like he has a more fluid action. Maybe if you were going to be split hairs, maybe.
How has he changed since the last time people really got a chance to see him run?
I mean, I think physically he's a much more imposing. I mean, he was always a big, strong horse, but I think now he's even bigger and stronger. I wouldn't say he's changed a huge amount, but I think mentally and physically he's grown up like you'd expect him to. I'm surprised actually that he hasn't become maybe more of a handful. He's just got a remarkably good attitude. I heard his dad was actually pretty tough, Luana's Animo, and he's never gotten like that.
Huh.
So, I mean, you wouldn't just sneak in the store with him. He'd let you know you were in there. But he's a pretty kind horse to be around for a 4-year-old stallion,
Are there any concerns with bringing him back from Fair Hill to the, the kind of more busy race, or does he just seem to handle that pretty well?
He seems to take it in stride, and again, I think that's part of the reason why we're doing this. If he was a difficult horse, I would be very reluctant to do it.
Yeah.
I thought it'd be good for him to come here and kind of have a transition before going to California, maybe, so it wasn't too much of a shock for him, and also kind of get him mentally prepared. I think horses, when they're trained in training centres, get a little bit more laid back, and sometimes they need to be a little bit more focused and, take him away from his paddock and all that. So, I mean, I certainly remember when I was working for Jonathan that we had horses that didn't run so well off the farm, but when they trained on the track, they were like different horses. So I think different horses take things differently.
Yeah.
And I just thought it was good for him. I've only run him off of Fair Hill the one time in the Preakness, and he was only there for 2 weeks. So I just think I felt like this was more normal for him.
How do you think that Bejarano style might suit him?
I hope well. I don't know. Should I be worried about that?
I don't think so.
I mean, look, he's ridden for me quite a bit before. He's a top rider out there. He's a great grass rider. I mean, I think this horse is pretty straightforward, really.
You said he ships tomorrow?
Yes.
And when do you get out there?
It's Monday, supposedly. Monday.
Thanks, Graham.
Alrighty.
Appreciate it.